Hey peeps, welcome to day 17 of my 30-day challenge where I tell you a little bit about myself. I wasn't going to do it today. I was going to just take a little bit of a break, but I decided not to. But I am going to backtrack a little bit, and this video doesn't include a picture. Instead, it's just this little moonster called Wolfie Woof. And I'm going to tell you about this because it's a story that my mom told me about myself when I was a little boy. And that story is that she basically said that when I was a little boy that there was this lady, her name was Ophelia, and she, like Gia, she would also take me out for the day. And she told me that Ophelia, whenever she would come and drop me off, she would tell my mom that that little boy doesn't shut up. And that I just wouldn't stop yakking away, and that I would be telling her all these stories of these monsters. And what was interesting with that is that when my mom told me that, she told me that she felt sad that I never shared those stories of those monsters with her, because at home I was pretty much a quiet little boy. Why I'm telling you this today, or just for whatever reason, is that when I started my sheep moonsters in 2020, you know, I was drawing one moonster a day for a whole year, and I ended up doing 400 consecutive days of these moonsters. And as I was doing them, I was wondering about where they came from. You know, the idea for the pink sheep came from me reading an Alexander McQueen biography, but the moonsters kind of came out of nowhere. So when I was thinking about that, I thought of that story of how I used to tell stories of moonsters when I was like a 3-year-old little boy. And I thought, whoa, so 50 years later, I'm kind of bringing them to life in some weird way. And when I think of these monsters, I always thought of them as being purple for whatever reason. And so that's why I did this little moonster called Wolfie Woof, and I painted him purple, and this is sort of what I imagined those monsters to look like. But then I still thought even more into that. I thought, but where did that idea come from? Even from me telling those stories, I then started realizing that in my 20s, when I was reading a book by Julia Cameron, I believe. It's called The Artist's Way. And in it, she talks about releasing these monsters. So one of the assignments was that you had to make a list of all the monsters in your life. And in that list, you were sort of, I believe, to write something so that they will no longer be monsters in your life. So I thought of that, and then I realized that in 2012, which was one of the hardest years of my life, and I'll tell you about it some other time, I was working on a series inspired by Lee Bowery, and I was reading a biography of his by Sue Tilley, and in it, somebody referred to Lee, I forget if it's pronounced Lee Bowery or Leigh Bowery, but anyway, they referred to him as a beautiful monster. And the idea of a monster being beautiful triggered something in my head, and I started doing this digital series where I took pop icons, or just icons in general, and I took their photographs, and then I spotted them with dots, just as Lee had painted his face with dots. So that was my way of converting these icons into these beautiful monsters. So it's interesting that this sort of theme of the monsters have been in my life all these years, and I feel lucky that I get to bring these sheep moonsters to life. And the reason they're called moonsters and not monsters is because I've always had an affinity to the moon. I've always felt a special connection for as long as I can remember. So that's why I call them moonsters. So that's it. I feel lucky again. I feel lucky that I get to bring these characters to life, and they're only like 2 years old, so I'm still excited about what else or where else they're gonna take me. So that's it. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.